Right, there we go. As if to confirm, there we go. So good evening, everyone, or afternoon, wherever you are. Let's just let people in as they come. Brilliant. We're off to recording now for LinkedIn Brilliant Basics. Now, as the name sort of suggests, it is down to Brilliant Basics. And I'll tell you for why. Even though LinkedIn is a very small part of my overall business, I think it's really important in terms of, for many of us that are in business to business type businesses, LinkedIn is probably the only social media that we're on. And when I do these things, and I do them to all different levels, I go into the Q&A afterwards, and I'm often surprised. I'm trying to be polite when I say that. I'm often surprised at the kind of questions that you get asked. So even though we've been talking about some really fancy stuff on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, actually when it comes to Q&A, some of the questions could be really, really quite basic. So it suggests, hi Catherine, it suggests that there is a market for just getting the basics right. We'll find out soon enough. So let's get straight into this then. First of all, cameras on if you want to, we are recording. I'd be really grateful if just in the chat, if you could let me know, how did you find out about this event? Was it through an email? Maybe it was on LinkedIn, or you found it on Eventbrite. That would be really helpful for me to know what's kind of working. Whereabouts in the world you are, your location, or the nearest big city if you're in the UK, and where would you currently score yourself on using LinkedIn? And on the score, hey Charles from Florida, if I remember correctly, one is not very confident at all. Perhaps you're brand new, or perhaps you've been on here a while but haven't used it for ages. 10, well, if you are a 10, we probably ought to swap seats, and then there'll be everyone in between. My goal, and I will try and find the chat function just now, but my goal will be, let's just have a look at some of the scores coming in. Chat. Will be to try and get you to, I would say 2 point. Wow, we've got some 7s in. That's encouraging, but I will try and get you 25% more than what you're already on. Okay, 25, that's probably not right. So it's going to be LinkedIn based on Morocco. Okay, it's summer. Okay, right, thank you. 7, Catherine, yeah, often see you on here. So brilliant. I'm trying to manage about 3 screens, by the way, so forgive me if that's okay. Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you for that. In a nutshell, this is me. I've been in business to business sales for about 33 years. And I recognize some of the people on this call won't even have been born then. So yes, just before anyone's thinking, before the mobile phone, before social media. So I've kind of grown up through all of that. The steam engine, though, had been invented. So that's good. So I've worked in all kinds of sales, from, I've just come out of BT working with clients, selling broadband at about £45 a month. And I've also sold contracts of over $1 billion as well. And the principles of selling, the principles of getting your message right to your target audience are actually surprisingly similar. It is true, some are more complicated than others, but actually the principle around a message and a consistent dissemination of that message, the principles are pretty similar. So I'm now business to business sales training. LinkedIn is a small part, as I've already mentioned. And the second part of my business is I'm really keen to work with business schools and perhaps bring on the next generation of sales, professional sales leaders. Okay. And what's next? So if you're wondering what LinkedIn is to do with sales, I think it's got a lot to do with sales, even taking into account, if you're not directly connected with sales, you're probably influencing at some level, even if it's internally within your own company, but you are probably influencing at some level. Okay, right, next. Okay, let's let someone in. Right, so here we go, and there we go. Right, so yes, we do record these because a number of people have asked. Emma and Andy, who couldn't actually make the call at this time, but we'll be watching the playback, have subscribed. So if you subscribe to the website, you can do that by photographing the QR code that appears on the screen just now. But also, some people, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So Steffi in Australia, if you're watching this, then hi, but you'll be watching it on playback. Okay, brilliant, thank you. Julie, really good to see you, long time no see. Okay, right, so what are we covering today? What is LinkedIn? Well, hopefully most of us know most of that. SSI, ground zero. So I can tell you that 85% of people that come across your profile are going to come across your profile on one of these, not on a desktop. So I would like you, if you cannot access the or use your mobile phone or your smartphone just now, then I'll send a follow-up video. But I just would like you, if you can, to go to your browser, whatever you're using, Android or iPhone, and to Google social selling. Well, by the way, in the UK, Google is a verb. Depending on part of the world that you're in, you might Yahoo it or whatever, but if you Google social selling index then and press go, it should take you to a LinkedIn sort of page, and it will be the first non-ad, social selling index, sales solutions, business LinkedIn. If you click on there, excuse me, and mine's just scrolling through now. I might take my background. I'm going to take that off for a second. It's just scrolling through now, and it's going to take you to a page. I don't know if you can read that properly, but there are going to be 2 images on there, and on the right hand side, there's going to be an option marked "Get your score for free," and so click on there. I'm assuming you're all logged in on your LinkedIn app, which most people have. It's going to give you a set of scores. I won't go into the scores just now, but that is ground zero. Now, Barbara, I'm looking at you because I know you're well past the basics. Is that new to you? Fantastic, right, so success already. So that is ground zero. So whatever the numbers are, and it will be unique to everyone else, that's ground zero. And I'll point you to a video that explains your social selling index on LinkedIn in more detail. I'm not going to go through it just now, but that's where you are now. And so maybe once a month, once a quarter, certainly is probably optimal. You can then look at, am I making progress relative to the whole of LinkedIn and relative to my network on LinkedIn? Okay, brilliant. What's next? Why are you here? I know that's very philosophical, but everyone's going to be here for approximately the same reason. We all want to benefit from being online. So the old adage of it's not what you know, it's who you know, that will never completely leave us, I'm afraid. So they talk about the old boys network or whatever happens to be. That will never completely leave us. It's certainly helpful to know really senior people or lots of people. But in the age of online and social media, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. So that is the major difference in, I think, approach here. It's about getting your online brand. Welcome, Angela, to the call as well. So think about, why are you here? What do you want LinkedIn to do for you? This is basics. Now I'm going to talk about, we've got a number of women online today, and I'm going to sound like a dad because I've got 4 children, two daughters. Safety, online safety and online security is absolutely paramount. And so you want to be careful what detail you disclose, and think about personal details. We'll go into contact details in a minute or so, but that's my point, is just be really, really careful, because there are some funny people out there, what can I say? And then LinkedIn, excuse me, as part of your go-to-market strategy. Now, I'm in a business-to-business type business, and LinkedIn is pretty, or even though I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, my personal brand really flows through from LinkedIn. It gets me to probably 95% of my core market. And so I'd rather be master of one, and I use master judiciously, if you like, advisedly, that was the word I was looking for. So I'm probably better off with LinkedIn than I am with almost anything else. If you have a business to consumer sort of business, you may well find that Insta is yours. We're here for LinkedIn, obviously, but that's the only thing that I kind of do. We're also going to find out how to do some search for leads and clients. What's top of mind, and that will talk to your target market, your target audience, the people that you want to promote your sales and your service to. We'll show you how to connect with people to maximum effect, if you like. What makes, for not just a post, I'm almost certain everyone knows how to make a post that's here. That's not the point. How to make an engaging post, that is different. And then some Q&A. I'll keep an eye on the time, but I'll try to have at least 5 minutes Q&A. If I don't get a chance to get to your question, put it into chat and I'll issue a follow-up sort of brief video afterwards, which you will also have access to, and then the session close, and I will try to get there for 7 o'clock UK time. Excuse me. Okay, right, what's next? So here we are. So it is amazing. I've been on here since 2004, more or less, when it was first incepted. I didn't really know why I was online at that point. It was just I think a recruitment platform really at that stage, where if you wanted a job, you would be active on LinkedIn, you'd be picked up by a recruiter, etc., etc. Very different now. It's about building one's online persona or online brand, and you can see I'm based in York, so that's about 200 miles north of London. It's the old York, not the New York, and you can see the geographic spread, the scatter map, if you like, of exactly who's where and how big the markets are. And I would say that Africa is probably the biggest growing market. And I know there's not a lot of news. The only place that LinkedIn isn't represented is in Russia. And that has been the case for a number of years because of the data transport laws in Russia are such that you can't access. There's proxy strategies that you can leverage, but it's not in Russia. It is in China, but to a limited degree. So there is a limited offering for LinkedIn, but they are actually in China. Right. Okay, start at the beginning. So why are you here? We've already asked that question. Again, reinforcing that we are about basics. And this is just part of your go-to-market strategy. So if you're not doing LinkedIn, what else are you doing? Are you writing blogs? Are you going out doing face-to-face networking, in-person networking, now that we're opening up after the pandemic? Is that part of it? What else are you doing? Just ask you to think about that. This is a really big part for me. It's free, first of all, and it's a great way for me to get my message out, and we're all here probably as a result of that. Okay, right. Now, on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side, left-hand side first, is some of the world's most iconic brands. We've got Facebook, or Meta as they're now known. We've got Tesco, Walmart, some of the biggest brands on earth. But actually, I won't go into that just here. On the right-hand side of the screen, we've got the most retweeted image. Now, it was up until about 10 days ago. I wouldn't mind betting that the whole Will Smith thing has changed the dynamic on that, but I didn't want to show that. This is from the 2017 Oscars. It was taken by Bradley Cooper, and the message behind this slide is actually on LinkedIn. We talk about business to business, business to consumer, but it's actually people to people. I firmly believe that, and so people will not so much engage with brands. I know you can have a company page on here, and just while we're on that, the company page, most of the people that engage with company pages are your employees, and that's helpful. It will get you coverage, but people will engage with brands, with personas, with faces, real people, especially after the pandemic, where we've been starved of human contact. People want it even more now. So if any of you are online and you've got, I don't know, a picture of your cat or your dog as your profile picture, don't do that. Just don't do that. Have, you know, here we are, good, lots of shaking heads, nodding heads, which is good. Right, so the point of this is that if you share content and you've got a professional with a small p, it doesn't need to be taken by a professional photographer, but there are some basics around getting a photo right. You're going to receive about 8 times more engagement than if you don't have a decent photo. Right, so here's some examples of you must not do this, mainly for obvious reasons. Just bring your attention to the person on the top right. That is not me, taken 20 years ago on the beach, nor anything like it. Now, unless you are a swimwear model, unless you are a dog groomer, you should not have pictures of your pets on there. It should just be plain and boring, a bit like mine is, and I'll show you that in a second. You just shouldn't do that. It should be a picture of you. And it's been proven from Stanford, I'm going to mention McGill because I'm fairly sure Henry will have done some work around this, but people do engage with photos, and we can draw an awful lot from someone's photo. Clearly the visible aspects, but also the less than visible aspects as well. I won't go into all of that. There's plenty of research to support that statement. Excuse me, welcome Francis to the call. Right, so today's volunteer, because I did promise I would go through somebody's beg your pardon, LinkedIn profile, is Femi. So I'm going to come out of there and I'm going to, let's get rid of that. And I'm going to go to Femi. There we go, right. And our volunteer today is going to be Femi. Now, just point of disclosure, Femi is a mentee of mine, and so I've asked up front, is this okay? It's going to be recorded, and Femi was okay with that. Femi, are you on screen at the minute? I know you're on the call. There you are. Okay, right. So, just to bring this to life for a second, I just want to go through the points, and you'll need to relate this back to your LinkedIn profile. So first of all, excuse me, Femi, this is a photo. It's not bad, but it's not quite close up enough. So the measure I always use is, am I going to recognize if Femi is sat in my office in reception? Am I going to recognize Femi? Is it good enough? Is it good enough lighting? Now, I recognize that, Femi, that this was probably taken from your laptop, and we can do better than that. We need to get the lighting a little bit better. Be careful of the background as well. I'm just going to go to mine. Actually, to be honest, the lighting on mine could be a little bit better as well. Let's get rid of that. But the point is, you would recognize me in reception, and I'm wearing my glasses. Also, if you have, it's important to keep your naming consistent as well. So if you are, for instance, an Andy, if you're known as Andy, but your profile says Andrew, you should change it. Or likewise, Chris and Christopher, or Catherine or Kate. Now, Catherine's known as Catherine, if I remember correctly, so you're going to keep that. But if you're normally known as Kate, because people, some people, especially blokes, frankly, if Catherine called herself Kate and I landed on Kate Schalk, I might think, that's the wrong one. I need to be looking for Catherine, because I'm... Yeah,
you'll get my cousin.
Yeah, exactly right. You said you wouldn't mention that. But anyway, so I'm literalist like that. So just bear that in mind. Charles, similarly, if you're known to most people as Chuck, I suggest not, because you use Charles consistently, but you might want to bear that in mind as well. So just bear that in mind. It's just got to be, we want to know you. That's the point. Okay, right. So Femi, you want to know Femi, you're consistent in that when your emails go through to people, it's known as Femi James. That's the other thing. When you start communicating, how's it going to come through? The next thing on screen here is this area here. Now, this is the default LinkedIn. If you don't do anything, this is what you're going to get. It's gray. Now, unless you are a worldwide recognized celebrity, someone in the public eye, someone like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Sheryl Sandberg, someone like that, you can probably afford not to have a background. And if you're a mere mortal, like me or Femi or Barbara, you are going to need to have something that supports your brand. Now, one of my clients on here is a photographer and a videographer, and he always has a stunning sunset. It will be a photo that he's taken, and that is supporting his brand. If you're in financial services, then now financial services can be a really exciting industry, particularly when you can relate it to what you get paid. So think of something that's going to engage people around your brand. Is there some degree of alignment? If you work with a world-class university, you might want to have a picture of campus in the background, or something that's going to add value to your persona and not detract or cause any kind of confusion. Because what happens when people are confused or it's not completely clear, they scroll on and they go to the next profile for someone where it is more obvious. And you've got about 3 seconds to make that first impression, by the way. Forgive me 1 second. Wow. Okay, so, right. So solid gold real estate. I'm just going to take you to mine for a second. So mine's being redesigned, but at the end of the day, I am a sales trainer, so there's no surprises there. That shows you what I do. It is alignment at some stage. Have I got someone else's profile sort of up at the moment? Let me go to Tracy. Just 1 second. There we go. Right. Just making sure that there we go, full view, full profile. Okay, brilliant. So this is Mrs. Roselle, by the way, and she won't mind me talking about this. This is brand. This does an awful. She's an HR director, and so this is brand accretive in the financial sense. So how can we make recruitment truly inclusive? That's what big focus is, where Tracy works. So there's a high degree of brand alignment there. Okay, so hopefully I've made that really clear. Now, also, and I'm just trying to look down my list here, most of our names are reasonable. In fact, Barbara, if I'm absolutely honest, if you're comfortable, I don't know, coming off of mute, just for a second, I'm not 100% certain how to pronounce your family name. Are you comfortable just kind of saying that out loud for a minute? Would you mind?
Yes, it's Casson.
Cacao.
Actually, no, it's Casson, actually, to rewrite it. Okay. And I should do this more consistently. I think on LinkedIn, I have pronounced it, I give some pronunciation guidance on how to pronounce it.
Right then. Okay, so case in point, and we live in a really diverse world, and I'm really pleased about that. But one of the greatest compliments I believe you can pay someone, especially when you're starting to build a relationship, is to pronounce their bleeding name correctly. So there is a way, and so you've got to meet us halfway sometimes. If you have got a name which isn't immediately obvious, then what you can do, and Femi, I'm going to have to go to mine for a second here. Can you see on next to my name, we've got a picture of, like, it looks like a gramophone. Can you see that? You're only going to see that when it's you looking at your own profile, and you'll need to do this probably. When you record it, you'll need to do it from your smartphone. Now I can play you the sound from here. So if you're listening carefully, I'll play on the gramophone here. Hello, I'm Keith Roselle, Sales Marvel. Marvelous. Okay, so that gives you 10 seconds of voice recording. Now you can just say your name, you can say your company name, and you can give us some sort of hint of, you know, your personality, if you like. So I'm a fairly light-hearted person. I think I'm relatively, even if I can't get all my words out easily, I am relatively easy to get on with, and I'm trying to put across that persona. So Barbara, did you know about that?
Yes, I have it. If you want, you can play it and let everyone know, you know, what you think.
Okay, right. Okay, now you put me on the spot now. So let's go. You've got whatever they call it. Go full profile. And we've got that.
I'm Barbara Casson, helping businesses and property investors raise finance from lenders across the UK.
Fantastic. Okay. Well done on that. So that's a great example. So even if your name isn't hard to pronounce, we're in the UK, most of us will recognize the structures. I still think it's a professional kindness, a professional courtesy to kind of do that, because it's another chance for people to get to know you even before they speak to you. Okay, so it just sort of suggests a degree of accessibility. Well done on that, Barbara. Thank you for that. Let's go back to Femi just now. Right, so we've got profile photo, should be a little bit closer up. In fact, Barbara, as we've got you, so, see, that's perfect. Great lighting, smiling, not grimace. Sorry, Barbara, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but anyway, smiling. It's close up, but not so close up. We would recognize Barbara in reception. If ever she came to meet us, we would recognize her. Okay, and this, by the way, this green spot says that you use the app, you're green and you're online on LinkedIn at the moment. Now, I'm not quite sure what this photo is, but we've got business finance, property finance, so there's a degree of alignment there. But I said I would I would go to Femi's. So we've done that. Femi is self-employed. Let's get rid of that. We've got the other thing, the bell. So if you go onto someone else's profile and it's someone that you want to be building a relationship with, perhaps a prospect out there, perhaps someone that you're trying to build a business relationship with, you'll see this bell here, and you can press the bell. I've already got it pressed for Femi. And that will alert me in my notifications, and it will say when Femi is made. So, you know, in the digital sense, we can engage with their content. We can like, comment, share, etc. We can start building a digital relationship with that person. I believe that's a really good thing to do. Right, back here, we can see that Femi is at Birmingham City University. Now, Femi, I did tell you I would be constructively critical here, so I hope you sat down. We can see that Femi's got 81 connections. Femi is early career talent. He's a graduate just now, empowering businesses to grow the age of digital marketing. That's not bad. That's not bad. But this takes a lot of work to think about, because you've got about 3 seconds, as I mentioned, to grab someone's attention, to, as I call it, poke them in the eye when they land on your profile, as to who they are and what they do, and are they of any use to you, frankly. So you've got 220 characters to use there, and let's just go to so we know digital marketing. We know that Femi is into that, and you're going to help businesses grow with the aid of digital marketing. So aid is a negative, particularly in the world at the moment. So now Mary Mason is really good at copy. So Mary will know far more about words than I do. But I can tell you now, aid is not necessarily a positive, particularly with the world in the difficult position it is at the moment. Digital marketing, though, is really good. I absolutely get what you're doing there. Empowering, yes, absolutely, that's a really positive word. But you've got so much more. Just as a reference, I'll go to mine, and that gives you a couple of lines. I do firmly believe that less is more, but you've got a couple of lines to go to. Let me quickly go to Barbara's and helping. Barbara, this one really gets me. Now, if your profile is working for you and it's giving you everything you need, don't change anything. But helping for me is meh. It's a word that doesn't grab my attention, first of all, because out of those 700 million people on LinkedIn, 500 million of them are going to have helping as their first word. So just bear that in mind. Okay, let's go back to Femi, because that's what this is about. Okay, brilliant. So anything else? Contact information, and I mentioned about safety and security earlier on. So contact information, here's Femi's address. It's going to give us that as a minimum, and Femi's personal email address is there, and it'll also give us the date that we are connected. But Femi, now you may have deliberately not put on your mobile phone number and deliberately not put on your address. By address, I don't mean your full home address at all, but your city location or whatever it happens to be. So if you're in a business that depends on in-person engagement, then where you live, the nearest big city, could be highly relevant, could be the difference between someone contacting you or not contacting you because they have no idea where Wythenshawe is, or whatever it happens to be, or Prince Edward Island, or whatever it happens to be. So I'm just trying to think out of the box here. Okay, so go to mine, and you would get whereabouts you can see that I'm in York, England, the old one. Most people know where that is, certainly in the United Kingdom. Is that right, Anita? Okay. Most people would know more or less where that is, but if you're in Knowle in the West Midlands, then not many people are going to know where that is. They won't know that it's actually not that far outside Birmingham. So put the nearest big city, if that is a tool of materiality to your business. Okay, next, let's go back to Femi. Right, about is your chance to show off, and we're actually not very good at that in Britain. Creative individual, innovative. Again, Femi, you've got to do a rewrite on that. You've got to grab somebody, you've got to poke them in the eye and tell them what it is you do. Not just what you do, but how you make your clients' lives better. So if you, in Barbara's case, if you de-risk their revolving credit, or if you how do you transform? If you reduce their, you're going to do two things. In business to business, there's only two benefits that you deliver. You either help people sell more stuff, which digital marketing is really good at, or you reduce their costs or risk. Let's put risk in with reduced costs. So you either help people sell more stuff or you reduce their costs. David, in the business that you have, I am going to get where you accredit drivers. You're going to help your clients sell more stuff because they're better qualified, they're better educated, they're more professional than someone who doesn't do that. And that's the way we've got to think about things. If you work for one of the best universities in the world, you better tell them why it's best. So you're going to help them sell more stuff, I would argue, because you're going to attract better talent into those organizations that are using you, because McGill is a really highly, no, I know that's in your past, Julie, necessary, but McGill is a really highly respected institution throughout the world. So how do you relate to selling more stuff or reducing costs? Catherine, clearly you help people sell more stuff, whatever it is that they're selling. So is your profile telling people that? That's what I would argue. Activity. So we can, so obviously in digital land, where we can work out what people are doing. I don't need to say we need to behave ourselves, do I? I've already said it. So let's move on. So be careful what you post about. That's what I'm saying. And again, experienced digital marketer. Femi, this tells me nothing. In fact, worse than that, this suggests that you're in Nigeria, your home country. So up in that, and that conflicts with United Kingdom. Let me tell you what Mrs. Roselle, an HR director, would say. If there's any gaps in your employment or any gaps in your LinkedIn, she will assume you've been in prison. Because people always go for the negatives. So if there's any gaps, they are unhelpful questions. Anita, welcome to the call. We're going to have a quick chat afterwards. Okay, right. Okay, so it's got to pass the smell test. So if you're in Birmingham, let's put we're in Birmingham because we're looking for a role, and Birmingham is going to be kind of important to all of that. Excuse me. So let's put that. Okay, education. We're doing a master's degree in management international business. Now, for your LinkedIn profile, even though you haven't graduated that, I would claim that. So if you're going to come out with an MSc, you would change your surname up there, which I'm not going to show you how to do that. Most people on here will know how to change their surname, and I would put comma MSc after that and claim those letters. And if you've got a distinction or a merit or whatever it is, claim that too. Likewise, if you've got an undergraduate degree and you're fortunate enough to have a first, put it there, because people are not going, this is what we call above the fold. It's what people see first of all on their screen. They won't have to, whereas down here we've got to scroll down to see what's going on down here. We've got to actively do something. That's called below the fold. So again, poke people in the eye. If you've got a first, and you'll have worked really hard for that first, or really after your undergraduate degree, put it up there, claim it already. And if you've already got one, then I would argue you should be putting it up there as well, because that's really helpful for me as an employer, or it just puts you in a better light than someone who hasn't got a degree. Now, I may have a hang up on that because I haven't got a degree. I never got the chance to go to university, but that's just me. Okay, right. What else have we got? Okay, so have you got any now? Femi is early stage, so I wouldn't be expecting you to have any recommendations yet, because, you know, frankly, you could get them, Femi, and I'll talk to you about that offhand. But if you've been at work for any more than 2 or 3 years, you should be able to get some recommendations on your LinkedIn profile for people that you've worked with before. Just very quickly, just to prove the point, down here, I'll have a number of recommendations. So skills recommendations. Okay, so I've got a number of recommendations. People that I've done work with, some coaching, some LinkedIn, some other sales training. They'll have given. I always ask for a recommendation, because if you've got a choice of hiring a sales trainer with someone who's got 3 recommendations or someone who's got 93 recommendations, probably, if all else being equal, you're going to go to someone with most recommendations. Similarly, if you're in copy or whatever it happens to be. So recommendations really, really important. And you should be able to put those together. Your top skills, by the way, I'm just going to go to Femi again here for the skills. They're the skills that you want to be known for. You can have up to 50. But only 3 will be visible unless someone clicks on these skills here. So they're the skills that you want to be known for right here, right now. So Femi has gone for social media marketing, creative content. That's probably about right, Femi. We might be able to tune that for some customer service. But then what we want people to do is to actually go on and click and endorse. Femi does, I'm not doing this. I'm doing this advisedly because I know Femi is really good at social media. So that's why I'm happy to endorse. Just going to, actually, Barbara, if you don't mind, I'm going to go down to yours. If you've got, so there you go, commercial finance, client relations, business networking. Now, if those are your top 3 skills that you want to be known in the marketplace, Barbara, then by all means, don't do anything. But if you think, well, actually, I want to be known as a commercial mortgage in sales as well, then maybe you'll elevate that skill so that it's one of the top 3 visible skills, and people can align that with your brand. They will get that. Okay, back to Femi. Okay, we've sort of done that, and we know what Femi is interested in, who you follow, etc., etc. Okay, right into. I'm just going to have a quick look in chat, see if anyone's not seeing well on your profile. Okay, all right, David, I'll check that into that afterwards. Thank you, taking notes, nurturing personal brands. Who's that people? Barbara. Okay, brilliant. Got that. Thank you. What's next? Let me go here. Right, yeah, okay. So, searching for key clients. Will you forgive me while I take a... Let's just say, let's go in the search box. We'll still on share. Let's just say, who do we know in Aviva? Most people in the United Kingdom, certainly in Canada, big operation that they have in Aviva. I think they're based in Ontario, if I remember correctly. So it's Scarborough. Let's go with Aviva. So in the search bar, we're going to put Aviva. It gives us a number of different choices. So we could look at Aviva Canada. I'm going to go with the umbrella organization, company and financial services. Going to click on them. And then if you can see, I've now got a number of different choices. Let's say that I'm going to target a director in Aviva. So I don't want the mailroom person. No disrespect to mailroom persons. I want to go for a director in Aviva. So I'm going to click on the right-hand side with all filters here. And by the way, I've got Navigator, but I'm not using Navigator. I'm using the basic, the cheap version of LinkedIn here because I'm in Yorkshire and we don't like spending money. So that's the way Yorkshire people think. That's fine. Aviva, I've got a number of filters here going down. So I want someone in the United Kingdom. So I'm going to click on locations here. I could go add a location, put Canada. If I wanted to. I want someone that's currently at Aviva, not someone who's got Aviva in the past, but someone who's there at the moment. And we know the industry, don't need to worry about that. Now, down the bottom here, we can see keywords, and I'm going to put, the keyword for me is director. I want to speak to someone who's a director level. It doesn't mean a board member of, it could mean, but if you know big companies, you'll know that they'll have 1,000 directors, but at least I want to be able to filter through that noise, if you like. So title as a director, and then don't press return because it will reset everything. The blue box with show results, click on there. That will do its thing now, and now it will give us everyone in the UK currently at Aviva that's got director in their job title. I'm not going to scroll through all of those, but it's given us 399. I told you it'd be a cast of thousands, but 399 people in Aviva in the UK. And hey, Dr. Pat, have got the job title of director. You never knew that, but here we go. So if I wanted to go, let's go business development. Andy's in York. How about that? So let's go to this person whom I don't know, but I will do by the end of tonight. I'm going to go, Jeff. Let's just say I wanted to make contact. I would connect. We get an option. I'm on my desktop here, not on my mobile phone, which is most people are going to do it from there. I'm on my desktop. I'm going to go to add a note. I rarely, unless I've literally just had a phone conversation with someone, I'm probably not going to send, click, connect. Probably not going to do that. Jeff will not be expecting my contacts. I'm not going to show you my typing skills either, but I'm going to put, hey Jeff, came across your profile. Aviva has always been a big client of mine in the past. I live in York, yada, yada. Let's connect. And that is the start of, hopefully, a beautiful relationship where we're building a relationship which may or may not result in business being done. But actually, if you're like me, you can't know enough people, that would be it. We type our text and then we press send. Not going to do that on screen. But that I think that's how to maximize the chances of someone accepting your connection request, is to personalize it, in other words. Okay, what's next? So we've searched, we've added a connection, and right, creating an engaging post. So let me go here, creating an engaging post. Everyone, I'm sure, has posted before. You'll know how to do that. But making an engaging post is different. So the recipe for an engaging post is an attention-grabbing headline. Remember I said most people, 85% are going to be going through here, and you've got to make them stop and click on your post. So you have to think about, if you're thinking this is a lot of work, you're absolutely right, because those 700 million, 350 million, half of them are what they call active accounts. They're on there at least once a day. And you've got, so therefore, that's going to be about 35 million posts. And you've got one post. How are you going to make them stop scrolling? You're going to have a poke in the eye headline, something that's different. It doesn't need to be swearing or anything like that, but it's just something that's different from the norm. Please don't swear. Attention grab, and then a specific message, your point of view on something that's just happened in the news that's in people's minds, or your point of view on nutrition or education or commercial finance, whatever it happens to be, but a point of view. Maybe the budget has just been written and there's something in there for business owners or corporates, and you're going to put your spin, your point of view, POV, around what that's going to be. So it's in people's consciousness. They're going to be looking for stuff. They're going to be sensitized to stuff that's just happened. And then you're going to put in an image. Now, video, I don't think video is top of mind for most people, just to admit, but an image which is appropriate to the message. Maybe it's an image of you. I'm not very comfortable with images of me. I had to get over that hurdle because it's just something you've got to do. So where do you source them from? You can get them from Shutterstock, from your own personal image bank, on your laptop, from Canva. If you've got loads of money, you can go to Getty or Alamy or something like that. Okay, so an image which is appropriate and also maybe attention grabbing as well. Hashtags to give it lots of coverage, and then maybe you can tag some people. Tagging, and I did say this was basic, be careful with tagging, because it is the equivalent of tapping someone on the shoulder saying, oi, give me some attention, you know, that sequence. So just be careful you don't sort of abuse that. And then one other thing that you need, particularly if you were somewhere between 1 or 3 out of 10, you need the courage to press post. Now, you have got something relevant to say. I promise you, you have. Your point of view is your point of view. You're perfectly entitled to have that. And I want to know what people are thinking. So those are the ingredients for an engaging post. Now, if it behaves itself, I'm going to give you an example of a post that I made probably, oh God, it might even have been a year or so ago, which I think fits all of those ingredients, if you like. So it's the little things. Now, is that attention grabbing? Maybe not, but it's different enough for people to think, okay, oh, what's going on? It's the little things. So the background is I ordered some stuff online. My wife and I were quite ill. We couldn't go out shopping. I had to do an emergency order, and you know, we live in the modern world. I never thought I'd order from Uber Eats, but here we are. So we got a delivery from Waitrose, which is a big chain. I can't remember the Canadian or the US equivalent. Winn-Dixie maybe, something like that. And we got something delivered. Now, they fulfilled the order and all the rest of it, and they put in a freebie, packet of chocolate biscuits. Anyone that knows me will know that they must have known me to put a packet of chocolate biscuits in there. And they had a handwritten note, or it looks like a handwritten note. Thank you for your first ever order from Waitrose. Now, how much did that cost them? How much did that cost them? Less than £1 and some effort. And that was really heartfelt. That really got to me as someone who's in sales and customer service. I just thought that is fantastic. I want to spend more money with that brand because they really appreciate my order. So my ask to you is, are you saying thank you for your business to your clients? I am guessing that half of you will be, but I'm also guessing that some of you won't be. Not that you don't appreciate your business, but you haven't told them, your customers, that you appreciate their business. We are in a world that's been through, the most, and we're not even out of it yet, but we've been through one of the most difficult periods of life. I think I can, certainly in my lifetime, starved of human contact and all those other things. And I won't go into a big number, but saying thank you, the little things, really means a lot to people just now. And it's a great, and it so happens I'm authentic about that. Some other things that might be interesting about this, I used, this almost forms a pattern. It's actually, it's more luck than judgment, but it's not all over the place, what we might call ragged rights. If mathematicians out there, is some sort of a curve going on. Equally, the words on the hashtags are similar, where they build. There's between 3 and 5 hashtags. That's the optimum to, if you're not connected with people, anyone else that's following sales or retail or chocolate, that will go into their news feed, and you stand a chance of getting engagement with them. So you'll have the maximum possible coverage. Did I tag anyone? I'm not sure I tagged anyone in that. So how did that score? We got, just one second, let me scroll down. That alt text, let's give me that's why. Oh, God. Right. There we go. Right. Okay. So what did that get? That got 426 likes. Now, there are going to be some digital media people on there that say, well, those are vanity metrics, as may be, but it's engagement, and I'm grateful for it. But anyway, 426 people agreed that was a really good thing. So that was the point. So if you're playing the recording back, whatever was on the previous slide, that post met that recipe. So that's the recipe for creating not just a post, because anyone can do that, but an engaging post. That's different. Okay, right, next. 1 second, search. We've already done in Viva. Any questions? Okay, right. We have got 5 minutes now for some questions. I'm just going to come off of share just for, I'm off of share already. Did that make any sense? Yeah.
Yes, it did. It's basics, yeah, but
yes. Unashamedly back to basics, because mastering the basics makes just sort of makes sense. Are there any questions? I'm just going to look in the chat for the are there any questions that anyone would like? POV means point of view. Yes, absolutely it does. Bettina, I think that was. Are there any questions that anyone's got? Would anyone? It's gone very quiet. Who was that?
That was me.
Hey, Dr. Pat.
I thought it was interesting on that last post. Something I've been on a call with you a while ago too, that you showed the same post, and I never noticed the architecture of the slant.
Yeah.
And of the hashtags. Like I knew about the 3 to 5 hashtags, and that, but I just thought it was very cool how that ended up, visually going, because your eye goes from the left to the right, so you're automatically going to go down. In that, did you have hashtags within the post itself?
Sometimes, because when it comes out on your phone or your desktop, it makes the word stand out. But it still counts towards the number of hashtags that you use. So you can have it in the body of the text if it adds value, if putting the hashtag is relevant for the post, but also if you want to emphasize that word maybe, then yes, absolutely, I'll do that. But if you have too many hashtags, more than say 5, I think it looks a bit spammy, a bit salesy, and it's going to put people off that post, and they're going to scroll on. There's a couple of nodding heads out there. If anyone disagrees with that vehemently, by all means, challenge me on that. I'm over 18, I'll be able to take that. But that's my point of view. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. You know, I use hashtags in the body if I'm bringing attention to a specific word, but I don't pay attention to how many hashtags I have in there, because sometimes when you're reading it, it just goes word, 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 and all of a sudden you have a hashtag. So it really draws your attention to it. And then, you know, I still follow the 3 to 5 rule, 5 hashtag rule at the very end without counting what I already have in there, unless I already hashtagged it.
Okay, fantastic. And the other thing about that post, and let me just share this again, 1 second, was at the risk of deeply embarrassing myself, had I forgotten to put it on share? Did you actually see the post when I was reading about it? Okay, well, right, just for a second, I thought I'd done something wrong. The other thing is about this, there's a lot of white space. Again, back to the fact that 85% or so are going to be reading on a small phone. You need to make it really easy for people to read. So some people are going to they're not going to bother with punctuation or anything like that. And I don't even bother engaging with something like that. It's too hard to read. There's plenty of white space on here. So I'm a big fan of less is more. Probably the second time I've mentioned on that. So that just makes it easy for people. You know, life is all about ease, convenience, simplicity, things like that, and social media, I think. And a 57-year-old telling people about social media, that irony of that is not lost on me either. But anyway, that was sort of the point. Anything else? Thank you, Dr. Pat. Anything else we got? Skills. How do you elevate your 3 skills, Rachel? Oh, good point. Right. How do you elevate that? Let me try and find how to do that. Let's get rid of that. Elevate your 3 skills. So first of all, you have to be logged onto your own profile, obviously, and we're running out of time. So if I run out of time, I'll just do this as a follow-up. So we would go to edit our own skills. And we would elevate by that, Rachel, I presume you mean, because you can only have 3 visible, so choose which one you want to demote, if you like, and then you would, now you should be able to get this to the point whereby you can there we go, right, show the skills but not edit. So we should be able to just drag and drop. There is a point at which you can drag and drop this. Maybe I need to, anyway, I'll figure it out, and I'll send up a follow-up link to show you exactly how to do that. But you can absolutely do that. And again, the top 3 skills that you want to be known for right here, right now, that's going to take your business or your brand in the right direction, you can absolutely do that. We are 1 minute over time, so apologies. Has anyone else got a last minute kind of question that you want to ask? Or if you have, stick it in the chat. If you, by the way, everyone's got access to this chat. If you wanted to go on there now and put in your LinkedIn URL, your profile, if you want to connect with everyone else, because not only are we talking about stuff, how many is the maximum? Well, the technological maximum, Barbara, is probably loads, but the best practice is you wouldn't use more than 5. 3, I think, is optimum. 5 is maximum. So if you go on the chat just now, on those 3 lines on the right hand side, it will give you the top option, which is save the chat, after this call is finished, you should be able to access the chat afterwards, and that will save it to your laptop, and you can, well done Mary for putting in your details there. I'll just give you a few seconds if anyone wanted to do that. Excuse me.
I had a quick question, Keith. I had a quick question. In terms of title, you know, when you, like, I'm transitioning between professions and I'm consulting a business owner slash manager in healthcare. How many like titles, you know, like in relevance should one put out there as a, you know, as a eye catcher?
That is a really good question. So if you've got, so I do some similar kind of work as well. So I have, sometimes I do some sales director type work. Sometimes I do commercial director, which is, yeah, customer facing. They're not a million miles apart. They are different. But if you, so I would feel comfortable about having those job titles, the work that I'm searching for, if you like, in my headline. I'd be comfortable enough with that. But if you've got stuff which is, I don't know, if you're a charity trustee, which is the UK parlance, but if you work with charitable organizations and you've got your own consulting business and they're miles apart, that might, what you don't want to do is cause any confusion. So for instance,
like there's a battle, like the sweet balance between like traction of people and not confusing anyone.
Exactly right. Confusion is not helpful at all. Do you mind, Julie, if I just go to your profile just now for a quick look? Would that be okay? Julie's Dumaine.
Very you see why I'm here.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, fantastic. That's so beautiful. Okay, so, well, as you, well, that's why we're here, right? Because back to basics, we've got lots of educated people on the line, but you know, we're just all in different places. So yeah, there's some work to do there, Julie, and we haven't got any headlines at all. So you're gonna have to think about, what does that look like in order to attract the kind of consulting work that you're kind of going for? Barbara, I'm going to probably go to your profile again, unless I've messed that up somehow. There we go. Yeah, I have. Okay, right. What have I got? I haven't. Casal. Now that I know how to pronounce that properly, I'm going to go to Barbara's. Scrolling through. 1 second. Okay, it's gone pop. Look, I'll figure it out. And if you drop me a line, Julie, you can DM me, and I'll put you some advice back if that's okay. If anyone would like a 5-minute quick call, you're very welcome to drop me a line, and we'll do something about that. But if that's okay, I'm going to bring this to a halt. I will send, if anyone's subscribed to the website, salesmarvel.co.uk, you'll automatically receive a recording link. But if that's it, I'm going to say thank you very much. It was great to see people from all over the place. Thank you, Mary, for the thumbs up. Really good to see some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces as well. And Anita, I'm going to give you a buzz straight afterwards if that's okay. So listen, have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. Really appreciate that, and I'll get this information to you over the next 24 hours or so. Thanks, everyone. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is the embarrassing bit where I'm looking for the lead.
Bye, thank you.
Cheerio.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. And call. There we go. Take care.